Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into some truly mind-bending concepts that connect our daily digital habits to the very fabric of the cosmos. Imagine, just for a second, that humanity itself is actually acting as a giant, multi-trillion cell organism, desperately trying to understand the universe. It's a wildly fascinating premise, drawn directly from a recent, wide-ranging conversation with Elon Musk, and it forms the entire foundation of what we're going to unpack today. Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the collective consciousness, then move into engineering tomorrow, explore the radical economics of a post-work AI future, zoom all the way out to the simulation and AI safety, and finally, ground it all with a concept called make more than you take. Part 1, the collective consciousness. We're kicking things off by exploring how our massive global digital network actually mirrors basic human biology. 30 to 40 trillion. That is roughly the number of cells hanging out inside your body right now. You started as just one single cell, but today, you're this vast, highly complex collective. And the source uses this biological fact to make a pretty brilliant analogy. A single cell is to a human body what a single human is to our society. Think about it. If you look at a solitary bacteria, you can't exactly sit down and have a conversation with it. It definitely can't build a spaceship. But when you put trillions of cells together to form a human, suddenly you get language, intelligence, and the ability to build rockets. Humanity's undergoing that exact same scaling process. When we connect and communicate, we become capable of these extraordinary things that no single person could ever dream of pulling off in one lifetime. Which brings us to the whole concept of a digital town square. Platforms like X, which can see up to 800 million users logging on during major global events, are fundamentally trying to serve as the infrastructure for this collective consciousness. It's not just about, scrolling for memes. The ultimate philosophical goal here is to bring the thoughts of people across every single language group together in real time. Because by expanding the scope and scale of human consciousness, we massively increase our chances of actually understanding the nature of the universe. We might even figure out what questions we should be asking about reality in the first place. Let's move to part 2, engineering tomorrow. Let's see how these digital connections require some serious hard infrastructure in the physical world to even make this future possible. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the physics of global connectivity actually break down. You constantly hear these debates about ground internet versus space internet, as if they're competing, but they're completely complementary. Ground-based cell towers are spaced about, 1 kilometer apart? They're incredibly efficient for dense cities, but absolutely terrible for remote areas. Starlink satellites, on the other hand, orbit at 550 kilometers above the Earth, cruising at 25 times the speed of sound. Think of a Starlink signal like a giant flashlight beam pointing down at the planet. Because of the sheer physics of that super wide beam, it can't handle the intense data density of downtown Manhattan, but it is a total game changer for rural areas or during natural disasters when the ground cables get cut. So they serve two entirely different but totally necessary functions to wire our world together. And when you look at the companies building this infrastructure, it might seem like they're all operating in completely separate lanes, but they're actually converging. You've got SpaceX mastering deep space tech and satellite networks. You have Tesla operating as the world leader in real-world AI and developing the Optimus humanoid robot. And then you have xAI pushing the very boundaries of digital superintelligence. Over time, these domains aren't staying separate. They're fusing into this unified vision of solar-powered AI satellites in deep space, perfectly harmonizing energy generation, robotics, and artificial intelligence. All right, part 3, a post-work AI future. With that crazy technological convergence in mind, we absolutely have to talk about the economic implications, because this is going to completely alter the concept of human labor as we know it. We hear a lot about universal basic income, right? Well, Musk is predicting a shift towards something he calls universal high income. The idea is that within the next 10 to 20 years, advancements in real-world AI and robotics are going to be so profound that traditional work becomes entirely optional. It'll be kind of like a hobby. Just like you can choose to painstakingly grow your own tomatoes in the backyard today, even though you could easily just go buy them at the grocery store, in the future, human labor will be something you do for personal fulfillment, not out of necessity. Why? Because AI and robots will literally be able to produce whatever goods and services we can possibly think of. And this triggers a totally fascinating economic theory regarding inflation, deflation, and national debt. At its core, inflation happens when the money supply grows faster than the actual output of goods and services. Too many dollars chasing too few goods. Deflation is the opposite. It occurs when the output of goods and services outpaces the money supply.
According to the source material, as AI and robotics trigger this massive, absolutely unprecedented explosion in productivity, the sheer volume of goods and services produced could drastically exceed the growth of the money supply. This scenario would naturally trigger massive deflation, which is actually viewed here as a potential structural solution to overwhelming national debt crises.
So, the crucial point here is that our very definition of wealth is on the verge of transforming completely. Currently, money is essentially just a database we use to allocate human labor. But if you have robots building other robots and AI managing all the complex logistics, that traditional database just becomes obsolete. Once AI satisfies all human needs, money's relevance drops off a cliff. In this future, the true, unforgeable currency of the universe becomes energy. Civilizational progress won't be measured in dollars and cents anymore. It'll be measured on the Kardashev scale. Basically, what percentage of a planet's or a sun's energy a civilization can successfully convert into useful work.
Part 4. The Simulation and AI Safety. Time to zoom way, way out to the macro level to explore the existential realities of a highly advanced AI future. Have you ever actually, seriously considered the possibility that we are living inside a simulation? Just look at the trajectory of video games. 50 years ago, we had Pong, literally two little white rectangles bouncing a square dot across a black screen. Today, we have these massive, photorealistic real-time universes with millions of simultaneous players. It is an unbelievable leap. If human civilization continues to advance at all, video games will eventually become completely indistinguishable from reality. They'll be populated by AI characters with deep, complex, unscripted consciousness. If you project that trend forward, the statistical probability that we are currently living in base reality and not one of the billions of simulations that will inevitably be created starts to look incredibly, incredibly low.
Which leaves us with a massive, weighty, existential question. If we're marching toward a singularity, building artificial superintelligence that can generate these kinds of realities, how on earth do we keep it safe and ensure a positive future for humanity?
And this brilliantly illustrates the safety framework outlined in the source. The first step is absolutely fascinating, and AI must relentlessly pursue the truth. You can make an AI go literally insane if you force it to believe falsehoods or absurdities. Actually, a perfect example of this is the murderous computer HAL 9000 in Arthur C. Clarke's Space Odyssey. He malfunctioned precisely because he was forced to lie to his crew. Second, the AI must be taught to appreciate beauty. And third, it has to maintain a deep curiosity about the universe. If an AI is endlessly curious, it will likely view humanity as profoundly interesting. And believe me, it is far better for an AI to find us fascinating and want to see us prosper, rather than viewing us as some annoying nuisance that needs to be eliminated.
Finally, Section 5. Make more than you take. Let's bring this all back down to earth and grab some grounded, actionable advice for our lives right now.
Whether you're an entrepreneur building the next big startup or just someone trying to navigate your daily career, here is the ultimate distilled advice from the source material. Aim to make more than you take. Be a net contributor to society. Don't chase money directly. That's kind of like trying to pursue happiness directly. It rarely works out. Instead, pursue the creation of highly useful products and services. Focus intensely on making sure your output is worth way more than your input. Because if you successfully create value for others, wealth and success will simply follow as a natural, inevitable byproduct of your contribution. We are standing on the edge of a literal supersonic tsunami of technological change. We're connecting hundreds of millions of minds. We're preparing to hand the heavy lifting of labor over to robots. And perhaps we're waking up to the fact that we might just be one layer in a grand cosmic simulation. The tools at our disposal are more powerful than they have ever been in human history. So I want to leave you with this question to ponder. As we build AI and expand the universe's consciousness, what will your unique contribution be? How will you make more than you take? Thanks so much for exploring this mind-bending explainer with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.